What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If you're new, my name's Nick, and on this channel we talk about personal finance and investing to try and make things just as simple and as easy for everyone to understand and get ahead. Today's video is for the first home buyers out there who haven't bought their first property yet. These are some tips that I would highly recommend you pay attention to, because most of them are either going to save you money or save you getting into a really bad situation with purchasing property. So my first tip for first home buyers is be aware of the cost of buying a property. Everyone knows you need a deposit to go and buy a property, but there's also a conveyancer that you'll need to pay. There'll be mortgage fees that you'll need to pay, most likely insurance, that's building and contents. And if you're putting a 10% deposit down, that's lender's mortgage insurance as well, which goes on top of the loan. So these are the things you need to be aware of before purchasing your first property. It's expensive. Let's just be real. Tip number 2 for the first home buyers out there is check that you are eligible for government grants and or stamp duty concessions. Now this is going to vary from state to state, so you want to check with your state's Office of State Revenue to see if you are eligible for these concessions, and it's really only going to save you money. Maybe you are, maybe you aren't, but at the end of the day, if you can try and save any money through this whole process, you definitely should. So check your state revenue department to see if you are eligible for these concessions. Tip number 3 for the first home buyers out there is speak to multiple mortgage brokers, and don't just go to your local branch to see if you can get a loan. By speaking to multiple mortgage brokers, you're then going to paint a picture for yourself of what is a good deal out there in the market and what isn't in terms of getting a loan. Now with mortgage brokers, they're definitely not all created equal. Mortgage brokers are going to have access to different lenders and different lending products. So by speaking to a variety of them, you're going to understand what is a good loan and what is a bad loan. So get out there, get on the phone, speak to at least a few mortgage brokers, and also go to the branch as well. They may also have some really good deals, but the idea here is just to see what lending products are out there available. And also the ones you see online, these are just advertising things as well. So by actually calling around and speaking to mortgage brokers and banks, you're then going to get a good picture of what is a good loan and of course what isn't a good loan. Tip number 4 for the first home buyers out there is know what you can afford before you even start looking. So you want to look with your head, not with your heart. By speaking to a mortgage broker first, you're then going to get an idea of what you could potentially afford, and then you can start narrowing down the suburbs in which you would like to buy. But the one thing you got to understand is the area that you want to live in versus the area where you can afford is generally going to be two different things. So again, look with your head, not with your heart. This is a very hard thing to do, but understand what you can afford and importantly, what you're unable to afford. Tip number 5 for the first home buyers out there, and this is a big one, make sure you have your finance pre-approved or you have approval in principle before you ideally start looking, and definitely before you make any offers. So don't rock up to an auction, put a bid in, then you become successful and then try and scramble to get your finances in order. You can really lose a lot of money this way if you don't have your pre-approval done and set in stone first, because by putting a deposit down doesn't automatically mean that you're going to get your finances sorted in time as well. So get pre-approved first before you start looking, and definitely before you start making any offers. And also, just a side note, just because you have pre-approval doesn't mean you're guaranteed the loan, but it's a much safer way of putting your money and deposit down on properties with that approval in principle first, rather than not having it at all. Tip number 6 for the first home buyers out there is once you've found an area, once you have your pre-approval and you're ready to make offers, before you do, just research the local area first, because whilst it might be a good area now, you don't know what the plans are going to be 5, 10, 15 years down the line. So you can check this on local government websites. You can check this on your state planning website as well to understand what's going to be developed in the area. Because the last thing you want is like a freeway being built behind your house, or a new train line going in. All of these things are going to devalue your property and not really make it a nice place to live. So make sure you know what's happening in the area before you buy. And as I said, look on the local and state government planning websites to see what is happening in that area. Tip number 8 for the first home buyers out there is looking for property takes time. So be prepared to lose on deals, be prepared to walk away. And as I said earlier, look with your head, not with your heart. So the last thing you want to do is get caught up in a bidding war with someone else just because you're emotionally invested in the particular property, and then you pay more than the market value for those properties. That's definitely not what you want to do. There's plenty of properties out there in the market. So just because you found one and it ticks all of the boxes and someone else is bidding on it, don't get caught up in that. Trust me, there are plenty of different properties out there and you will find the one that suits you best. But this is the property game. There's going to be times where you have to walk away. There's going to be times where you have to remove all emotion from it. It's difficult to do, I know, because, you know, after all, this is kind of it's the biggest thing most of us are going to do in our lives. So yeah, it's going to take time. Be prepared to walk away. Don't get caught up in bidding deals. And that is 8 tips for first home buyers. I appreciate you watching. That's all we have time for today's video. Thanks for stopping by. Until next Thursday, take care. I'll catch you soon.